Hey y'all, welcome to Princess Dragon Gaming. I'm Ikistar, and today I'm your host of Farming Fables, where we go over farming or farming adjacent cozy games. Now with my introduction done, it's time to introduce the topics of today's video. So of course today I will be talking about Echoes of the Plum Grove. Echoes of the Plum Grove is an indie game made by Unwound Games, a husband and wife development team that was made in 2018. They also employ contractors to help with the development of their games, and as far as I can tell, their only game currently is Echoes of the Plum Grove. Now let me talk about the game itself, while going into what I like about the game, and what I'm not as fond of. The game starts with the player and their friend getting on a ship, moving to a new land to start a better life. Unfortunately, not everything goes as planned, and after a storm, the ship is wrecked, leaving the player to wash up on shore as the only survivor. Players are saved by the townsfolk, and when they are woken up, they are brought to their farm. Players then more or less make their own story from that point on. Eventually, players are introduced to the more supernatural side of things. They meet the town's witch, as she, as well as the player's old friend, introduces players to ghosts, and later, Limbo, which is the place we'll talk about later. Eventually, the player is invited to join the coven between the town witch, Astra, and her sisters, another thing we'll go over later. The main drive of their own story from here on out, until they finish Limbo, which I will leave for you to figure out and see for yourselves. This game is 2D, and honestly, compared to all the other farming sims I've played, this one has the most unique art style. Everything in the game looks similar to the Paper Mario art style if you're familiar with that. It feels like you're a part of a picture book, and that's honestly the best way I can describe it. The characters, furniture, and animals are adorable, and I love how silly they look when performing certain animations. They also tend to be extremely expressive. There are some aspects of 3D in this game, most notably with the structures and specific trees, but they are textured in a way that it feels natural and normal for the world. I will go more into this later in the NPC section, but I feel like the art style and the lack of character sprites can make it a bit hard to feel as connected to some villagers. Now, let's get into the gameplay, which for a good number of you will be the most important part. First off, the player. Players can only fully customize their character at the start. After the intro, they can only really customize their hairstyle and outfit. Things such as hair and skin color are passed down from parents, which will be touched on in a later section. When playing the game, you can change your character's emotions through a wheel which changes their facial expressions and how they walk. This works really well if you're going into the story aspect, and if you just want another small feature that helps you feel more part of the world. Like a lot of farming games, farming is of course the biggest part of the game and how you make a majority of your money. Players are limited to planting what can be grown in that season. There are regular crops and trees you can plant, and you primarily get seeds by buying them off of their farmers as gifts, rewards, and quests, and you can get seeds back after harvesting your crops. The crops you grow are likely to be your main source of income, as you can sell them raw or use them to make things like food or other items, such as using wheat to make flour. I would like to make an important note here. Unlike almost every other farming sim, the crops and everything else such as fish and food have a shelf life. These items expire after a few days. This essentially makes it impossible to hoard multiples of one crop or item unless you turn this setting off. Generally, this game has a lot of settings and features that make it hard to play, especially when compared to other farming sims. These can all be turned off if you want a more casual experience or kept on for a more challenging one. I'm making note of this now as it will be gone over in other sections as well. Related to farming, players can also have a plethora of farm animals. Animals are separated into 3 categories mostly, so let's go over them quickly. Wild animals can be found at specific locations on the map depending on time and season. When interacted with, they give players items. For example, if you pet the bear, you can get a bear claw from it. Pets are animals that never die. They never have to be fed, and they kind of just run around the place. They don't really do anything besides look cute. You can choose from multiple cats, dogs, and even pet pigs, which is admittedly a bit odd considering pet pigs are immortal and livestock pigs aren't. Finally, we have livestock. They are split depending on if they live in a coop or barn. You can have chickens, geese, pigs, sheep, cows, and goats. All these animals give you what you're used to: milk, eggs, and wool. Not many games allow you to have pigs as livestock because they essentially can't produce anything. Technically, except for one thing. As I've alluded to earlier, your livestock in this game can die from old age or by your own hands. Meat is used in a lot of recipes, and you can get meat either from buying it at the butcher's or you can slaughter your own animals. I'm gonna be real. I've yet to do this. I feel so bad whenever I think about it, so I just have refused to. I've seen a lot of people wait to do this until their livestock is about to die anyways, so if you feel bad about it like me, that's probably your best bet. Players can buy and craft tools. Specifically for this section, tools are the most important thing to go over, as they are the only way to really play the game. Without disabling it, every tool can and will break eventually as players use them over time. They have durability similar to Minecraft. When the durability is low, players can have them repaired at the blacksmith for a small fee, or they will break, forcing you to buy or craft a new one. Almost every tool can break except for watering cans, lanterns, and tools for livestock. Like with most challenging aspects in this game, you can turn this off. I personally turn this setting and many others off as I use farming games to calm down and to really chill out, since I normally play games that are stressful or frustrating. However, if you want an extra challenge, then of course leave this setting and the others I will mention on. Like more recent farming sims, this game also employs the use of skills that give players perks as they keep building them up. They're mostly pretty simple to level up. The farming skill is likely one of the first you'll level up. You of course increase this by farming, specifically harvesting crops. You can also level it up by harvesting from your livestock, such as shearing sheep. With the perks, you can either go down the crop or livestock paths. At level 5, you can either have a higher chance of producing high quality crops, or you can choose to get more animal products from your livestock. At level 10, the crop path allows you to either have your crops produce more yield or your trees to produce more. The livestock path either allows your animals to have more children, or you can get more meat from butchering them. The foraging skill is extremely easy to level up, as you can mine, shake trees, or pick wild plants to level it up. There is the herbologist path and the miner path. At level 5, the herbologist allows more collectibles to spawn, and at level 10, you can either choose to have collectibles increase in quality, or have double wood drops. At level 5, miners mine more ore from veins, and at level 10, you can choose to either increase your tool durability or to have lantern oil last longer. Lantern oil is of course used to light your lantern, which lights up dark areas and it prevents you from taking the movement speed debuff when walking in the dark. The social skill is leveled up by talking to villagers and interacting with them. There are two paths you can go down, being the charismatic or the haggler path. At level 5, the charismatic path allows you to get more relationship points from talking and gifting NPCs, and level 10 can either make it so your base social relationship is higher, or you gain the ability to insult people twice in one day. At level 5, the haggler path gives you a 10% discount when buying items, and at level 10 you can either make it so shops have more inventory, or you can choose to receive gifts more often, either from the mail or through talking. The fishing skill is leveled up by, of course, fishing. Who would have guessed? There isn't really a neat way that I can think of at least to categorize these paths, so I'd be calling them Path A and Path B. Path A at level 5 increases your chance of catching 2 fish, and at level 10 you can either choose to increase the quality of your fish you catch, or increase your raw durability. Path B at level 5 reduces the time it takes for fish to bite and get caught. Level 10 can either increase your chance of catching rare fish, or can reduce fishing time even further. Next is the crafting skill. Honestly, I don't care for this one as much. I haven't really increased it yet, and I honestly think there's a clear better choice. These paths revolve around crafting or refining artisan goods. The crafting path, which in my opinion is the worst one, allows you to craft items faster at level 5, and at level 10 you could either decrease building cost, or you have a chance to preserve items from crafting. The artisan path at level 5 makes it so your refined artisan goods are higher quality, and at level 10 you can either choose to have a chance at doubling refined items, or refining takes less time. Finally is the cooking skill. I don't think I've leveled this skill up once honestly, and you level it up by cooking any of the 112 recipes in game. For this skill, I also have a lot of trouble making up path names, so we'll go with Path A and Path B again. Path A at level 5 decreases cooking time, and at level 10 you can choose to have a chance of doubling the cooked item, or a chance to preserve ingredients used in the recipe. Path B at level 5 increases cooked food quality, and at level 10 you can either make it so that food effects last longer, or make it so your rate of hunger decreases. Those are all the skills. There are some that I personally think are pretty useless, such as the crafting time one, but overall I'm glad they're included, so there are a lot more options for people to customize their gameplay. An important thing to note is that when the player character dies, their skills do not get passed down to their successor, as instead you now have whatever skills that character had already built to that point. You kind of have to restart. As I've explained more and more about this game, you probably have noticed that this game has some features not seen in farming sims usually. Most notably, you can die in various ways. You and other living NPCs and livestock die of old age, poison, and disease. Players can die of hunger. You can kill NPCs and your livestock. As mentioned before, items go rotten and expire. And possibly worst of all is that you have to pay taxes every week. And unlike real life, the more money you have, the more money you owe. When NPCs die, a funeral will be held that you can attend. This is just a quick little event meant to make the town feel more alive, ironically enough. Most villagers die of old age or disease, but as I mentioned before, players can also take it upon themselves to kill villagers by gifting them a death cake, which you buy off the town witch. I haven't done this yet in my game, but I'm very excited to when the time is right. When the player dies, you choose one of your kids as an heir to continue on with gameplay. You keep your money and your inventory. As mentioned before, your skills are lost. In the settings, you can make yourself immortal to avoid this issue though. Livestock dying and items rotting are things I've already gone over in this video. So now I unfortunately have to go over the scariest part. You are required to pay your taxes every week. And it gets worse, as taxes increase by 10 coins a week. Luckily, like with almost everything else in this list, you can turn taxes off in the settings. Something I'm pretty sure you can't turn off in the settings is the effects found in the game. A couple of farming games have effects, but there usually aren't negative ones. Many of the effects are buffs. However, there are a few annoying effects. Most are just to let you know of things such as how hungry you are, if it's too dark to see, if you're pregnant, and if you're falling ill or dying. However, I have a specific effect that I feel does too much. The nauseated effect is very easy to avoid, but if you ended up getting it by eating raw meat or taking the wrong medication, which can be confusing to use, it's honestly the most annoying thing in the world. You walk incredibly slow, and it feels like every few seconds, but I don't have an exact number, your character stops for a few seconds to throw up. I get this is supposed to be challenging, but I feel like this effect does too much in regard to how often it takes away control from the player. This effect also lasts for a long time. I've never wanted to play a different game more than when this happened. Next is NPCs. I'm going to be real with y'all, but I find it a bit hard to connect with the villagers in this game. When you first start, the villagers are predetermined, but as villagers die, families are made, and more people move in, it becomes more randomized between playthroughs. Villagers are assigned 3 traits, and they are given a career, which makes up most of their dialogue. I felt it hard to get attached to the characters because of this repetitive and sometimes stilted dialogue, and weirdly enough, I think the really simple art style and no talking sprites helped to enforce how disconnected I felt from the characters. While playing, I have to make up my own story for each character I interact with, and while that's fun, I feel like it heavily hurts the game when it comes to the marriage aspect. To be honest here, I don't really read what the NPCs say, because it's never interesting. I found it hard to pick a marriage candidate because of the lack of personality and simple look. I went based on who would be more useful and stuff like their hair color mainly. I did like how villagers can marry each other and start their own families, as it makes the town feel really alive. It really feels like if the player didn't join, the villagers would be able to develop their own stories and generations without us interacting. Any NPC can marry any NPC of any gender, and no matter their gender, they can get pregnant. This is apparently controversial, and if you look up the game on Google reviews, you can see some people who obviously didn't look into the game that much. Guy characters can marry guy characters and get pregnant. It's the same when it's 2 women. It's just to ensure generations can continue, and it allows players to get with whoever they like the most. The system handling NPC families is really great, however I do have one issue with it though. As you can imagine, with the very limited population and the constant marriages and births, there is, as you keep playing through multiple generations, a high chance of incest occurring. I personally have not seen this happen, as I haven't played for many generations since I had my lifespan set so long. But one look on the Reddit for this game tells you this issue is pretty common. The only real way I know of players being able to fix this themselves is to just kill most of their town, as when jobs are unfulfilled, more people are brought in through the ships that visit. A big draw to this game is that you have to have a family so you can continue playing the game, unless you turn off your character aging and are careful about disease and hunger. You can get married and start a family with any gender. When you get married, your partner will move into your home after your ceremony. Eventually, you can have kids with them, or you can give adoption papers to any NPC child without a family. If you choose to have your own kids, then you must feed them every day and keep them happy. Babies can't die or be taken away from you, but they do gain bad traits if they are unhappy. You can have up to 4 people living in your home at once. If your partner has a job, you can collect money from them every day. You can choose whether to make your kids get jobs, help you on the farm, or if they can go to school. If you choose to send them off on a job, then you can collect money from them as well. When your children become adults, you can either kick them out to make more room in your house, or you can wait until they leave on their own. There is a home decorating aspect of this game, and it's pretty good. There's a wide range of furniture items, wallpapers, and flooring to decorate your house with. You can upgrade your home twice, which increases the room in the home. I wanted to mention this quickly since I haven't gone in depth with this aspect since it can get really expensive, but I do want to note that all of the furniture is very cute due to the art style. Most of your furniture, wallpaper, and flooring will come from the carpenter. Another big aspect of farming games are festivals and other important events. There are a few non-season specific events, and every festival is a season and day specific. Weddings and funerals can happen any day that doesn't already have an important event attached to it. You can get invited if you know the people getting married or the person who died, but it isn't a requirement, and there isn't anything you can do there except stand around until the event is over. These events are mainly for you to advance and create stories for the NPCs around you and your character. Every week has a Sunday market where villagers will gather around in the town square to sell various items. Ships arrive every weekend and they bring valuable items to buy, disease, and visitors. The first weekend brings the colonial ship, the second brings the empire ship, and the third brings pirates. Each of these ships bring different items to trade. I would like to bring up the secret invite quest here. Spoiler warning, but as I mentioned before, the player is invited by Astra to join the coven consisting of her and her sisters. This meeting happens twice every year, once on spring 21st and the second time on fall 21st. Here, players are asked to choose between three options that last for 2 seasons, where players can choose to curse villagers at random, have a blessing of fertility, or a good harvest. Now on to the festivals, which there are 7 of. I personally don't like how they're split up, as spring and summer only have 1 festival while winter gets 3. This can make spring and summer feel boring and empty, while winter can feel too cluttered, especially with how many deaths there are usually during that season. I think winter should get more festivals than the other seasons since you can't really farm during then, but I think the gap is a little bit too big here. In the spring, there's a fishing contest on the 13th, where you try to catch as many fish as possible. Catching fish gives you fish coins, which can be used to buy 3 items: a fish plush toy, a painting, and a rainbow fishing rod. In summer, there's a bake-off on the 13th. You don't need to bring ingredients here, and you have to sign up before noon. You'll be asked to cook specific recipes, but if you don't know the recipe, then just rotate the request until you can make what the judges are asking you for. If you win, you get 500 coins, a blueberry cream cake, and its recipe. In the fall, there are 2 festivals. Fall 13th has Halloween. Kids will dress up and ask you for candy. Depending on how much you give out, the mayor will send you a letter telling you how good or bad you did and how the kids of the town feel. Fall 20th is the day of the Harvest Festival, where you can either enter a harvest or animal into the correlating contest. For the animal contest, you enter one of your animals to compete. You get 500 coins and a turkey painting if you win. The Harvest Contest allows you to submit 9 items for the competition. You can also gamble at the Witch's Tent, which is fun. There are 3 festivals in the winter. On the 6th of winter, there's a crafting contest. The 3 judges give you hints on what they would like you to craft, and you are given a time limit to do so. If you win, you get a certificate signed by the king. Winter 12 has the Winter Gala, which allows you to gather cranberries for the mayor, or you can keep them for yourself. And it's mainly a special event where you can get recipes. If you submit cranberries to the mayor, you are given cranberry punch and gold depending on how many you submitted. There's also a lantern festival, which isn't really a major thing. You just purchase a lantern to release into the sky, and that's about it. I would finally like to go over Limbo. This is mostly endgame, so if you haven't played and don't want any spoilers, I highly recommend you click ahead. Limbo is an important part to the game's story and works as a set of milestones for the player to complete. This section of the game is located in the witch Astra's basement. There are 6 milestones or pillars for you to complete, and they all correlate to the skills within the game. The pillars hold a pot, and when you complete that pillar, a plant grows. Completing each pillar reactivates the portal in the center, which plays a special cutscene that I would rather not go into so you can see it for yourself. Before I go into what the pillars need, I would like to mention there's another aspect to Limbo. In this area, you will find ghosts of previous villagers, and many of them have quests for you to complete, similar to Living Villager. Here, your reward will mainly be mana. Mana is used to create potions in the witch's hut, and they give effects or do things that help the player. Potions need specific ingredients and mana to be made. Their effects can range from giving you status effects like speed to teleporting you to places such as Limbo or the caves. Now, going over the pillars and what you need to do for each of them. Let's start with the 3 easiest to complete. The social pillar requires you to make 10 friends, get married, and complete 30 quests. You will likely complete this without even trying. The foraging pillar requires you to have collected 567 forageables, donated 30 gold star forageables, and donated 10 gold ore. You have to try a bit here since you physically have to donate items and unlock the mines. The last easy one, in my opinion, is the fishing pillar instead of the farming pillar. For the fishing pillar, you need to have collected 28 fish, donated 30 gold star fish, and donated 10 lobsters. I'd say this last one is easy because it's pretty easy to fish and you only need a fishing rod to do so. The next 3 are a bit harder to complete. The farming pillar is the easiest one of these 3, but it is harder than the last 3 due to the need for gold livestock products, which of course needs happy leveled livestock. For this pillar, you need to have collected 26 crops, donated 30 gold star crops, and donated 30 Gold Star animal products. The crafting pillar needs you to donate 30 crafted resource items, collect 58 craftable items, and donate 10 craftable placeables. The final pillar is the cooking pillar. You need to learn 50 recipes, donate 20 Gold Star meals, and gift 30 Gold Star meals to different villagers. As I mentioned earlier, you see a cutscene after reactivating the portal through completing all the milestones. The cutscene ends off the game's story and plays the game's credits. Don't worry though, you won't need to restart as you're capable of playing from here on out. You just won't have any really game story or overarching goal to complete that isn't provided by the game already. And that's all I have to say. Overall, I do enjoy Echoes of the Plum Grove from time to time. I don't play this game that often, mainly because I really enjoy NPCs' interactions within games such as this, but I like the generation system it has going on. Unfortunately, the generation system here isn't unique to this game, so I don't think it should be the main draw here. But it is good. It is overall fun to play. I highly recommend it for those who want a challenge, as it's honestly the main draw to the game. Overall, I'd say this game is at least worth a try if you've been interested in anything I've said, or if you want to play the game for the challenge or generation aspect, but if you want a more usual farming game, then this one probably isn't for you, mainly because of the dying and lack of NPC character. Thank y'all so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this on our channel. Your support means a lot to us. If you want more game recommendations, we cover a lot of genres, including, but not limited to, farming, dress-up, decorating, dating, etc. Let us know in the comments below what you want us to cover next, and in the meantime, we'll keep looking for more great games to recommend to y'all. Thanks for watching! Bye-bye!